The return of the Integrity Ignite Series has been long anticipated throughout the winter, and for the first time in 2024, over 50 drivers are set to take to the track for the 2024 Daytona Duels. This is the Daytona International Speedway, the 2.5-mile circuit in Daytona Beach, Florida. Sunny skies and high speeds will greet the drivers of the Integrity Ignite Series as we are set to determine our Getting set to broadcast all of tonight's action, I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing tonight's racing, and qualifying is on the way for the first time this season. Single car qualifying for tonight's race here at Daytona, and as we return to the circuit, we currently have 2 minutes and 37 seconds left on the timing sheet. So time is already running out for these drivers. It's their first opportunity to take to the track alone, and tonight it's dual racing. So we have two events splitting up our overall field into two pairs, and as it stands, Boomer Logan has the fastest time in the number 94. It's going to be Boomer at the top of the board in his all NFL paint scheme, Miami Dolphins on the hood, and the New England Patriots on the side. So definitely a unique look there for Boomer, returning from last season, but keep in mind, alongside a lot of our returning drivers, we have many newcomers. Right now, second on the board is Brad Wren. First time we've seen him in integrity competition, and it looks like right now he's going to be in the top 5 of the charts. Rob Ackley goes to the top, Don Runkle goes second, and they're still flying up throughout the pylon. Currently, a total now of 38 drivers have taken the time, top of which Anthony DeBarro, who is one of the more successful drivers last season in the Ignite Series, he's now up to the top, and the most consistent driver of last season, Thomas Bresci, runner-up in both season championships, he's now going to be scored in 7th. He's only 53 thousandths away from the top of the board. So that's going to be Bresci's run. DJ Stagner, who conquered Daytona last Thursday in the Highline Racing League, he's now up to the top of the board overall, and Elliott Drummond will go second. Elliott's going to move there. We've seen him before. Matter of fact, he goes up to the top of the board in his second lap, and drivers are going up and down the order so quickly we can hardly keep up. 1 minute to go this time by, and Cody Smith goes up to the runner-up spot. As it stands, now 47 drivers have taken a time, and we have 52 in the session. Alan Rawell's going to get on the way. He's going for his first lap right now, and he's a veteran from last season, looking to once again return to form. At the line for Allen, he's going to go up to 47th on the board at a 49 with the time. And now Cal Filarski's on the way in the same vein. With so many drivers going at once, it's going to be a stacked field for both duels. Chad Mikas and Carter Casey are your provisional top two, with Braxton Weiss and Joe Pillion third and fourth. It's still going to be a tight spread as drivers are coming down to the final 15 seconds. It's a last opportunity for anyone to get a time on the board. Cal Filarski in the number 91 is going, but it looks like he's a bit too far away from the start-finish line, and his Microsoft co-pilot, number 91. At the top of the board, Chad Mikas in the number 25 will lead the way for the first duel tonight and secure the pole position overall. Mikas and Carter Casey are going to be your leaders of the duels tonight, and it's now time for your first race of the season. Each duel is 40 laps or 50 minutes, whichever comes first. So we do have hard time limits for tonight's races. Don't expect them to run too long. We will not see egregiously long times. It's keep the movement of the racing quick and hopefully give us a lot more action as time goes on. First starting grid has been set, so in this instance, we're only going to read off the inside line of the top times. That is your first duel, so stay with us here. We're going to be reading from the left side of our overall timing screen as we bring up the starting duel for the first grid of the season. It's duel number 1 in the World Center of Racing, and Daytona International Speedway is set to come alive. Chad Mikas is going to be at the top of the board overall. Same goes for Carter Casey. They're your fastest two taking times tonight, and as it stands, they will be the drivers looking forward to getting things going here in Daytona. They're going to be first and second, and from there on out, we're still trying to figure out who goes where. It's going to be Chuck Sweeting third on the board, Well, no longer. He's going to be pushed back by Braxton Weiss. Third in the timing charts, Braxton will be starting second in tonight's duel. Chuck Sweeting will start third in this duel with Elliott Drummond fourth and Brian McFerrin ninth in the timing charts. He'll be then in fifth. Position number 6 is going to be the overall 11th place driver of Anthony DeBarro. DeBarro, multi-time winner last year, going to be starting just ahead of rookie Justin Trombley, and Kyle Cooper will round out the top 15, sporting a sleek new look, courtesy of Chance 3 Designs. Timothy Johnston, he's one of the drivers who looked to be set to get a win or two last year, could never come around on it. Tonight, he'll be starting in the overall 9th position, and to round out the top 10, it'll be Matthew Thunhorst in his number 8. He was a championship contender throughout all of 2023, and he's looking to keep that speed yet again. Going further, Thomas Bresci, second place in both championship standings. First to DJ Stagner, next to Alec Daffin. He's the most consistent driver in the Night Series history, and he will come back to form 11th on the board. Rookie Sebastian Miller will be in 12th, and it'll be Brandon Kirkman then in 13th, with Nick Carbuck in the 14th position, and Vinny Tigner of Saturday Night Thunder coming through. He'll be starting in 15th. It's going to be then 16th to Travis McQuistion, your Daytona winner last season. Trevor Trago is going to be 17th, with Ryan Potter 18th, Cody Griffin 19th, and Brad Patton concluding the top 20. 21st is going to be Boomer Logan, with Jacob Fife 22nd, Forrest Smith 23rd, and Andrew Schaub in 24th. Justin Morton then 25th, as it's going to be 26th and last of your first duel tonight. 51st on the timing charts, Joe Dinsmore in the number 95. That's your starting grid for the first duel in Daytona, and we're a half lap away from kicking off 2024 in the Integrity Racing League. Sign-ups for this league in this series, they are closed. We have 60 drivers registered, 52 have shown up tonight, and speaking of the registration, every driver who signed up, no matter whether or not they participate in the duels, will be eligible to race next week, next Monday night at Daytona. So we could see up to 60 drivers start next week. Keep that in mind. We're looking at what could be the biggest field in FTN history, and by far the biggest field in Ignite Series history. Tonight, almost every driver registered showed up, but it's only one that gets to lead the way. It's Chad Mikus at the top of the board in his number 25 of Big Evil Racing and Big Evil Designs. He's looking to put on the biggest of shows as he kicks off his 2024 tour on the right foot. Pole sitter for the duel with Braxton Weiss right beside him. The iRacing official Pace Truck will dive in and give way to Chad Mikus and company as we get set for the first duel of 2024. The green flag's out and New Year is on. Welcome back to Daytona. We're racing in the Ignite Series. Lap 1 of the season concluded. It's going to be Braxton Weiss who led at the stripe, but he's not to be outdone as Elliott Drummond takes to the top of the board. A lot of new drivers tonight, and last season we had multiple out-of-points events that we had to kick off the year and get these drivers acclimated. That's not the case this time around. You're off to the races quite literally immediately this year, and you've got to be driving as hard as you can to get those positions, especially with how big this field is. You cannot risk losing more spots. 52 drivers in the duels tonight, and that's if any indication. We'll see more in the main race. You can't have yourself outside of the top 40 or the top 50 if you want to have a good chance at winning. It's going to be a huge field, and more than that, there's a lot of talent, so it's not going to be easy to make it up through the field tonight. Those who got track position, and Carter Casey in second, and of course your overall pole sitter in Chad Mikas at the top of the board. Those two got very lucky in terms of having that speed to start up front of these duels, and tonight Mikas has been carrying it so far inside the top 5, so no signs of decay for the number 25 team, as he currently is going to be leading the way. Not any longer. At the top of the board, there's going to be the Allen's Art Images number 13. Braxton Luis is going to be looking hot down to the bottom side. Anthony DeBarro going to be right up top. Allen's Art Images, Chris DeWeese, Carter Casey, all in chat. Thank you for stopping by. Great to have you here. And we're just getting this season started. Taking a look at the middle of the field here, you're starting to see a divide from Jacob Fife on back. Let's get a better camera angle on that one right now. You'll see Fife there in the middle of the field. He's about 18th right now out of 25 who took to the track. You look further, there's Forrest Smith, and then there's a little bit of a gap where it's single file to Boomer Logan. It's single file behind Boomer, but it's already 3 wide so far. Nick Tarbuck is going to be in the middle of it. There's also Travis McQuistion. Travis did win last season in a very foggy Daytona, so he knows what it's like to get this done when it matters most. But the question is whether or not he can do it once again. Alan Cummin in chat, thank you for stopping by. A lot of Highline racers look to be crossing over. We're seeing, of course, Stagner. We also see Ryan Potter, and right now it's Chad Mike is getting some support as he falls down to 10th. He's a little more conservative to start this one. Either way, he's got to stay up in that front pack if he wants any chance to go through and advance to the higher portions of the starting grid. Once again, everyone makes it into the main race. However, with over 50 drivers registered for the duels and 60 drivers registered for the series, if you start outside the top 30, you are in serious trouble. DeBarro is going to be leading the way down the back straightaway. He's got good support right now from Braxton Luis, but Kyle Cooper is going to be now making it 3 wide middle, and take a look right up top. Now you're seeing right beside Matthew Thunhorst, Brad Patton, and Trevor Trago. They are going to be 3 abreast now as they come back to the start-finish line. Already 5 laps in, coming to 6, and so far, it's been clean, but it has been close, and they're already really stacking up when it comes to line after line after line. If you got a favorite driver, be sure to let us know here. We're getting the likes and subscriptions as we speak. Your support is greatly appreciated, and rest of the year is going to be broadcasted exclusively on FTN. So great to have you here for our first race tonight. Braxton Luis is now going to back down. He's going to go inside the middle of the pack and come out right behind Jacob Fife, and it looks like he'll be passed by Ryan Potter. So Braxton's going to back down. He doesn't like what he's seeing up in front, and he's going to be a bit safer as opposed to getting his material wrecked so early in this race. Keep in mind, no fast repairs all year in the Integrity Racing League, and since we're already playing for keeps, you do not want to lose what you have. At the stripe, Matthew Thunhorst, new race leader. They're shuffling once again. Looks like Elliott Drummond, who's going to go down to the bottom, and he gets very close to losing it entirely. Luckily keeps it together, and we will stay in one piece. Those moments where drivers bobble back and forth are serious now, especially as we're starting to get in the run, and Drummond knows it. So he's going to fade back. Looks like he's not going to be comfortable with the pack up in front, and he's going to make the right decision for his team right now. Does not want to lose what he has, and as a result, he'll drop back just a bit further. So Drummond's going to be sent back now to 18th. It's going to be Timothy Johnston, who's now going to be one of the final drivers in this main pack. It looks like 17 guys are hooked up with the leaders. Then you look back to Boomer Logan, and then Jacob Fife is where the real divide is. And right now, Fife still runs in 18th. The first half of the field getting away. There's a few drivers lying back, and then there's those who are playing it the safest, single file. 40 laps, so if anything, expect a one-stop strategy from these drivers. If we have a caution, I do not expect us to see anything else besides 1 or 2, as it's going to be a huge save there by Matthew Thunhorst. My oh my, how about that one? He is still going straight. Caution flies, but he kept that one out of the wall both ways, and the yellow flag is out. Matthew Thunhorst, despite the caution, is going to save it big. There's trouble in the back of the field. Look at Vinny Tigner slowing down. Andrew Schaub, they look like they got away, but that was a huge close call, and as a result, the caution is out. Matthew Thunhorst keeps that thing alive. just barely. Let's take a look at that one more time here. It looked like he was all out of sorts, and it looks like he still kept with it. Watch one more time. Contact there with, it looks like, Brad Patton. That's going to shoot him down low. Touch Kyle Cooper, and as you look at it here, he kept it straight, locked it down and locked it up, and kept going. Everyone else is actually able to get around it, but it was a very big safety yellow, and given how they were coming out of the corner there, it makes sense to call it. Yellow flag is out, and as a result, we are under pacing for the first time tonight. It's a caution. How about that save? Funhorse kept it together. As tricky as it appears to be, he's still mostly in one piece. Some damage there on the sides. Otherwise, he's going to be good to go. He's going to drop down to the apron there as one driver rushes in. Looks like at the front runners, Anthony DeBarro will get out of it all right. Nick Tarbuck, same deal. You also look at Kyle Cooper, Chad Mikas, Chuck Sweeting. Looks like, give or take, everyone's still going to be fine to race here after our first caution. No major damage on anyone. I think the biggest damage will go to the driver of the number 8. The number 48, however, is going to drop down and in, so we're going to see some drivers already looking to go to pit road here. Let's see how busy it gets. Sebastian Miller, he will look to stay out, so will Travis McQuistion, but Brad Patton's going to take Forrest Smith down and take a few other drivers with them, and now we're seeing the first run on a pit road all season long. They're already going to be making it into their pit stalls here. You can see it now. Pit road busy for some, not so much for others, and it's going to be a real big split strategy here as it looks like about 20 drivers stay out on the track, rest of which come right in. After further approximations, it's 13 that stay out on the track, and it looks like some of them coming in for damage, most of which come in for service. Rest of the pack comes in, so really a 50-50 split as drivers get back on the way. Winner off pit road is Brad Patton, then Braxton Weiss, and then Cody Griffin, and Sebastian Miller now has the race lead 10 laps in. Big changes to your running order so far. It looks like already it's a rookie to the top of the board, and one of the drivers we have not seen before in integrity competition, that is Sebastian Miller. Number 83 tonight, making his very first start in the Ignite Series, and looking to prove himself as a competitor for the rest of the season. It's a great opportunity, these duels are, to really show what you've got in store for the field, because while it is, of course, going to be playing for keeps and for that starting position, it isn't as important as a points-paying race should be typically. So for these drivers, it's a little bit of a more relaxed race. It's not necessarily truly informal, but you can make some mistakes and get around without having too much trouble, especially knowing that you'll have yourself over 200 miles to recover next Monday. So this isn't really the be-all, end-all, especially as every driver will advance to the main feature. However, you do want to be able to establish that good reputation. And right now for Sebastian Miller, he's got the race lead. He was very close to that first wreck, but avoided it, and now has himself up in front of two veterans who won at plate races, of course, last season. Travis McQuistion, he got it done at Daytona last season, and Thomas Bressi last year swept Talladega, and most recently got it done in a fantastic 88-lap all-green race, and it was Bressi who got it done on strategy. Before that, he got it done on a photo finish earlier in the year, and a two-time winner at Talladega in 2023. Say that 10 times fast. Bressi's one of the better drivers here in these plate tracks. McQuistion proved that he can do it, and I think he's got the speed to maybe go for it once again this season. Anthony DeBarro right there as well. You're looking at the veterans lining up. Of the top 10 right now, only 2 of which have not competed in this series previously. Leader Sebastian Miller, and 10th place Justin Trombley. Otherwise, rest of this top 10 are all drivers who participated in at least one Integrity Ignite Series race previously, be it last season or 2023 in general. A busy track still. All 25 drivers are on the circuit right now. 3 went back to pit road. It looks like it's going to be Brandon Kirkman, Justin Morton and Jacob Fife, who went in this time by as opposed to the last time by. So they're going to have the newest set of tire over everyone in the field. They're going to top off and get a little more fuel in there. I think the strategy right now is to hope for it to go all the way and try to run on what you've got. Maybe topping off for the rest of this race. Right now, we are already within that 30 laps to go range, so it's going to be 29 to go this time by. And I think that's going to be the game plan for these drivers. Doug Middendorf in chat, thank you for stopping by. Great to have the fan support right now as your front runners are set to get back at it. Sebastian Miller down low, Travis McQuistion right up high, and they're going to go and hit it to the green flag. Your first restart of 2024, your first restart in the duels. Now time to find out how drivers approach this opportunity. The sun is setting, the nighttime skies are becoming more prominent, and it's going to be a different style of racing under the lights at Daytona. But first, we're going to see the sun set and some stars shine. Sebastian Miller leads the way this time through. McQuistion up top. Thomas Bressi then in third. Green flag is out. We're back on our way at lap 12. Miller already going to get that lead, but Thomas Bressy's not going to make it any easier. He's already up on the top side, and he has a run. Getting pushed now by Anthony DeBarro. You'll see him go down to the bottom side and block Miller, and now it's going to be Anthony making his way through. Up top, it's going to be speed on the second groove, and it's going to take DeBarro up to that race lead. Just like that, going to be a new driver on the top of the board. Anthony DeBarro looking quick, and he's got the speed to take it to the point, this time by 27 up top, 24 down low. New race leader tonight, it's going to be DeBarro again with the lap lead. Travis McQuistion now pushing him as all the veterans are clumping together. Sebastian Miller is going to stay in third right now as he runs in between Bressi and Kyle Cooper. Look further back and you're also going to see in the mix Brad Patton, Boomer Logan, Justin Trombley, Cody Griffin, and Braxton Deweese. These gaggle of drivers are going to be just before things get spread out once again. You see drivers beyond the top 15 are in the second pack right now, last of which looks to be Dunhorst and Justin Morton, who are really connected, but you see Elliott Drummond, Jacob Fife, and them on back. They're going to be once again a bit more cautious, and they perhaps expect another yellow flag or expected to get very antsy up in front, which we've seen already. These guys are getting very close to one another, but right now in the early laps of this run, we're seeing side by side yet again. Tell you this much, we can watch on board with one of these guys. I think right now the focus has to be on the driver pushing the leader of this pack and the field. Sebastian Miller right now. Let's ride on board and see exactly what's going on. Miller at the line is still going to be here in second, and you can see he's giving some space to the bumper here for Thomas Bressi, and you don't want to be pushing all too hard, especially in the corners. It's going to be all about giving space and letting the air do a lot of the work right now. And with these drivers getting to grips with the new model here, it's going to be iRacing's big changes over the offseason, the tire model and the new damage model, both of which coming in after the last season of Integrity Ignite competition ended, and as such, it's a definitely different driving style. So you have to approach this car differently, even for the veterans of this series. It's not going to be 100% the same, and there's still a lot to learn getting this seat time as opposed to those who are perhaps sitting out of this event. At the line, Bressi's got the lead, and he's still going to be just ahead on the bottom groove. Sebastian Miller sticking with him here, and also looking further back. Seeing 3 wide action, there's Jacob Fife. He is going to be 3 abreast with Forrest Smith and briefly Trevor Trago. It's going to be Forrest Smith who hangs back. It's going to be Trevor Trago who moves up. And once again, they're side by side further on back. The entirety of the field is still separated by only 2.5 seconds. Going back to Andrew Schaub with the number 55. Andrew remains at the back of the field right now and hopes to keep with the draft, but it's already getting risky to be this far back, given that you could see these drivers are almost in their own frame, and then you see the big pack. But tailing the draft is a good thing here. You don't want to use up that fuel, especially if you haven't gone down a pit road. But for all the drivers who are up in the front of the field right now, 1st to 13th are still all drivers that went to pit road once tonight. Nobody who went to pit road, rather, has gotten up to the top 13. Those who are inside the top 13 have stayed out on their original compound, going all the way back to Boomer Logan. And don't have a great camera angle of it, but that's a 3-team NFL car. On the left side, you're going to see the New England Patriots. On the top, you're going to see the Miami Dolphins. But on the right side, you're going to see the New York Jets. So unless Boomer Logan gets spun around, I don't think that other side is going to come to light all too often. But he's got a 3-team paint scheme tonight, one of the most unique in the entire field, and looking to have some fun with that football machine just the night after the Super Bowl. There we go. You might see it there, the number 94. Jets green on the right side, so he's got a brand new paint scheme, much like a lot of these drivers. And a lot of these drivers might not be new to FTN, but we are seeing some integrity debuts being made on this stage. Vinny Tigner, who just won Saturday night at Michigan, well, he's here and he's looking to get it done again in the Xfinity car, this time on a Monday night. We saw Michael Stroll make a few cameos in SNT competition last season, and he's looking to get that collaboration going with Vinny Tigner and Carter Casey. Casey's going to have the pole position for your second duel, but tonight Vinny Tigner races in the first, and he's right now going to be scored in 11th in the middle of the field, doing well so far for his debut. Of the Schumacher Racing League, Elliott Drummond in the number 54 was running up in front previously. Right now, though, he's hanging back and looking to wait for the drivers to perhaps part the seas and maybe make a few mistakes as the race goes on. Drummond, one of the top-level competitors in SRL Cup Series competition, has made his way to the Xfinity cars, and for the first time in FTN history, he'll be here with this B-car package in his number 54 Toyota Supra. We saw Ryan Potter just a few nights ago, Thursday in the Highline Racing League. He'll be here alongside his teammate DJ Stagner for Swamp Motorsport, and up in front, they're getting 3 wide, so you can see already they're getting antsy right behind leader Thomas Bressi. Bressi holds them down to the bottom side. They're 3 line at the stripe, and it's going to be the bottom line beaten out by Miller. It's going to be the middle side that leads to lap 20. We're coming up to halfway this time through, and it's a race to see who makes it to the midway point first. They're fighting for it like it's the last lap. Kyle Cooper down low. DeBarro going to give a bit of a shove there to Sebastian Miller, and look at how close these drivers are off the corner. That's really going to offset the balance of Sebastian Miller. It looks like the pointier nose of the Supra sort of set him off and almost got him turning the other way, and he had to correct himself as a result. He'll drop back. The middle line is going to lose speed, and Travis McQuistion is able to drop down to the bottom without any hesitation. It's those small, minute adjustments that are really make or break right now. Take a look at how close it is on the back bumper of Travis McQuistion, your defending Daytona winner. He knows what it's like to get it done at the World Center of Racing, but by no means is it easy. 20 laps to go. This time by, we're already past the halfway marker, and Bressi is back on top. One driver that's made his way up here quietly is Chuck Sweeting. Taking a look at the driver now in the number 75. Sweeting has slowly but surely found his footing, and the driver who we saw compete sparsely throughout 2023, definitely Chuck has speed. In the same vein as Timothy Johnston, a quiet driver that puts a lot of good runs in, but sometimes it's just that luck that finds his way on the bad side. I think that when it comes down to it, there was a chance for Chuck Sweeting to win 1 or 2 races, definitely bag a few podiums on his way, and I think this season it's a great opportunity perhaps to go for that first career victory if all goes well. And I feel like he's one of those drivers where opportunity never really finds him, but he's definitely got the ability to make things work. So keep that in mind. Chuck Sweeting might be one of the drivers to look out for here, as he's now going to be lined up with Timothy Johnson. Ironically, they're going to be lined up right now, and it looks like they are positioned 5th and 9th respectively. That's how close everyone is right now. They're in the same line, less than a car length apart, and they're separated by 4 positions. It's a very close game up in front, and for Johnston, he's the textbook example of having that speed, but sometimes just not getting it there to the finish. Case in point, Darlington last season, which was a full-length Xfinity-style race, he was the leading man with less than 5 laps to go, and he was right there with Thomas Bressi fighting for the race win. There came a caution. He got banged up on the first lap of the final restart, and that was his race then and there. This number 82 comes back with a brand new look, but overall it's the same driver running at the front of the field right now as they come by once again. 18 laps to go, 3 wide now. Bressi's on the bottom, and it's Travis McQuistion up to the middle with Miller up high. 3 wide has been very prominent all throughout this race. A lot of times in plate racing, you sort of wait for someone to make that first move, take that first risk up top, but tonight it's been there since the beginning. I don't think anyone is afraid to go up there right now, given how well it's worked out. And that hopefully will be the same case for the rest of this one and perhaps the second duel. Middle line might not have a lot of drivers, but they're benefiting from that double side draft. And right now, even though the top side is more developed, it's going to be Travis McQuistion really giving a run for Thomas Bressi's money here, side by side, coming down the back straightaway. 17 laps to go. McQuistion has a slight advantage, but take a look at how that high side always comes back down the backstretch. That's all about the momentum you carry up on the high side. You can see how high Sebastian Miller holds himself there up to the top of the track, nearly up to the wall here for some drivers like Forrest Smith, and you get that powerful run off the corner exit. It gets him clear of McQuistion nearly, but it's not going to be enough right now with that double side draft still playing into effect, and Thomas Bressi is reaping the benefits every lap here. 16 laps to go, and it's going to be Bressi top of the board. Kyle Cooper then in second, and you're going to look back, and now it's going to be the outside line really fading here. Now we'll see whether or not drivers opt to go perhaps to another lane. Taking a look right now particularly at Matthew Thunhorst in the number 8. He's going to be in the middle of this one and has the chance to go down to the middle. He's going to take it here and instead line himself up with the second groove as he's going to go down below Cody Griffin. Griffin's got the opportunity to go with him. It looks like Cody's going to stay up top, and Matthew Thunhorst transfers right back up. He's trying to feel out the rest of this race and maybe figure out what the best line is. So he's trying everything and looking everywhere. 15 laps remaining this time by. Bressi still got the lead, but it's going to be another driver taking it up to the top. How about Kyle Cooper, number 73 machine, now pushing hard on Bressi to take that race lead, and the question becomes, will Thomas Bressi give away that bottom side? Looks like he won't have a chance. Big wreck. DeBarro, Johnston, Fife. Everyone gets involved. And the first big one of the night. Drivers are up and over in smoke. And it's going to be multiple drivers with severe damage. Yellow flag is out. Biggest wreck of the night. And we've got ourselves a caution. 15 laps to go. This changes everything. Let's take a look back and find out what just happened. And we're taking our look back right now. You're going to see in the middle of the field, Johnston got involved, but it did not kick off with Timothy. It kicked off a bit further in front. And it looks like Sebastian Miller right there. You can see he's holding on to the quarter panel of the Barrow. Micus is going to hook Johnston, and then they all go spinning. You'll see Chuck Sweeting, Nick Tarbuck, Jacob Fife also getting involved. Chad Micus spins, and some drivers go all the way down to the apron. Very close call there for Brandon Kirkman. He's going to get away. Yellow flag is out. That's going to take out 7-8 drivers minimum. However, not major damage for most. Chuck Sweeting, Justin Trombley will have to disconnect, but everyone else looks to be good to go to at least continue an attempt in this race. 14 laps remaining. It is Thomas Bressi who leads, and the 2024 Daytona Duels have not been without incident tonight. 2 cautions so far, and now we're coming down to the final stretch. Question becomes now whether or not Thomas Bressie is going to come down to pit road. Almost everyone on the field has at least gone down once now, with a lot of others coming in this time through. We'll see if Thomas opts to come in. It looks like he stays on the track, looking to stay up top. There's no movement down low. Looking late or looking never, Bressie opts to stay in on the racing circuit. It's going to be Braxton Weiss, Forrest Smith, Justin Morton making it in this time by, it looks like still, the drivers who started this race on the original set. They are going to choose to keep it on. Now, the gamble is going to be all about whether or not they can manage on fuel. It's going to be a big-time strategy game from here on out, and if we do, of course, see more green flag laps, maybe it's going to put this strategy in jeopardy, but we've seen multiple yellows already. Going to become a game of guessing. Now it's going to be DeBarro down on pit road. In addition, you're also going to see Jacob Fife, Forrest Smith, Andrew Schaub. Andrew just got on the way, and a lot of these drivers, the bulk of the field, making it again, but some of your front runners still decide it's not time to come down to pit road. As it stands, only 6 drivers have decided to stay with the original stint: Bressie, McQuistion, Kyle Cooper, Brian McFerrin, Boomer Logan, and Vinny Tigner. That is the only group of drivers of the 25 that started this duel that are still on the original set, and they run 1st through 6th as we speak. Multiple drivers chose to come in after using that original stint, however, and those include the following: DeBarro, Johnston, Sebastian Miller, and Chad Mikas. So there's going to be multiple drivers opting to come in for the first time tonight, and drivers still have yet to make it down to pit road. With a 40-lap race, it's not necessarily mandatory, but as it stands, it's still going to be a bit of a risk. We'll find out whether or not it works out as we're coming to 1 lap to green. This time by, it's going to be an 11-lap dash here in Daytona, and the World Center of Racing has control of the field. Once again, it's a track that sometimes intimidates these drivers, and for good reason. This 2.5-mile circuit has been in operation since 1959 for use in the NASCAR Cup Series, the ARCA Menard Series, and previously it's seen racing even in Indycar. In addition, all other configurations have seen the 24 Hours of Daytona. You've also seen the American Motocross Association take on the track, road course racing, endurance, oval racing, stock car racing, Indy cars, not to mention, in addition, we've also seen rallying, just about a racing paradise here in Daytona. And tonight, in the virtual world, we see another great run of racers. It's 2 races with some of the best drivers on the iRacing platform. Daytona, you can't take it for granted, but it is tricky. Over 30 degrees of banking in all 4 of the primary turns, and the front straightaway has over 15 degrees of banking as well. So it is a high-speed circuit. You almost never let off the gas. And right now, for Thomas Bressie, you really can't. The Exalta number 24 has control, and he's got himself only 11 complete laps to go from this point onward if he wants to win the first duel of the season. Every driver in this duel is going to advance to the main event. We have 60 drivers eligible to race, and all 60 can start if they choose to. McQuistion is going to be in 2nd, Kyle Cooper is going to be in 3rd, and Brian McFerrin is in 4th, as we're set to put the action back on the road in just a few moments' time. Casey Schuenchat, 2 weeks away from the sim. We'd love to, of course, have him back to complete a fantastic lineup here in the Ignite Series. Registrations are closed. However, if you want to check out any registration for any FTN league, check out the description that we have on every broadcast. Every Discord link is below. So if you want to join the Integrity Octane Series, which will race tomorrow, you're more than welcome to. They have registration still open throughout the entirety of this year, and we'd love to have you join the Octane Series as they move to the Gen 4 cars for the first season in that new package. We'd love to have you here in the Integrity Racing League. Tonight, the Monday Night Warriors get to put on a show. It's Bressie and McQuistion, your front row. Your most recent 2 plate track winners in this series are going to line up 1st and 2nd, coming down to only 11 laps remaining. Green flag is out for Thomas Bressie, back on the way with less than 12 laps to do it. Coming into the back straightaway, they're going to be double file for now, and I think it's going to be more so about who pushes the buttons in this final run. We saw 2 longer green flag runs to kick off this race, but now we'll see who's going to be the driver to really push it far, go for that 3-wide move, take that risk. It's Elliott Drummond. Drummond's going to take it up to the top side immediately, and he's looking quick already. Going to see a few drivers try to merge in. There's Cody Griffin. Griffin's now going to take it up to the top, and we're already 3 wide with 10 laps to go. We are nowhere near at risk of losing the amount of time we have left, 50 minutes on the session or 40 laps, whichever comes first. And right now, we're in good standing to go all the way from this point onward without any concern of time. It's going to be all about these drivers and how they handle the final laps. The sun is completely set in Daytona. It's going to be the stadium lighting carrying them down the back straightaway, and you'll see there Chris Griffin, or rather Cody Griffin, takes it up to the top of the board. You're going to see Brian McFerrin, middle of 3, and it's also going to be Kyle Cooper on the bottom side. Boomer Logan's now inside the top 10, and it's going to be Boomer taking it down low in the number 94 with 10 laps to go, coming down to 9 laps remaining. 2 drivers are going to be off the leading pack, Timothy Johnston and Braxton Deweese. Both have nose damage, and it looks like they're going to have substantial troubles for the rest of this one in terms of getting back up to the leaders of the pack. There's still going to be 3 abreast, though, as they come down the back straightaway here. Bressy's got the lead. McQuistion is still going to be right there with them. Take a ride on board right now with Matthew Thunhorse and see how close these drivers are as he's stacked up all the way on the top. Now, this is a very risky spot to be in if you're Matthew Thunhorse, knowing how quick everything can shatter and go from 0 to 100. Being on the top side is really not the place to be in any wreck, because if you want to go down low, you're more than likely going to hit someone on the way there, and you're going to get damaged in almost every circumstance. You have to have a lot of faith in the drivers around you and have that trust that they will not come apart in the case of very close pack racing, just like what we're seeing. And right now, it's about as close as ever. Thunhorse still remains locked up top. He's trying to get side by side now with Vinny Tigner and company, but he's still going to be locked there because he's behind multiple drivers on the top side as the high line is looking to get into motion here. They're going to be still neck and neck with the bottom groove, and the middle side comes apart just a bit. Travis McQuistion still holding fort, but he doesn't quite have what it takes to pull away right now as he runs in the middle of both lines. 8 laps remaining. This time through, 1 driver, a lapper, they're going to be coming up on. That is Timothy Johnston. They'll get by him quickly as he remains on the bottom side. Barreling through at a speed of 187 miles an hour. They make it quickly by Johnston, and Bressy has no concern about the lapper. Once again, all focus is on the race leader, and still going to be Travis McQuistion and Kyle Cooper keeping him honest. But Cody Griffin, he has been close on that high side. Matter of fact, now he runs side by side for the race lead, and even though only 3 drivers are close on that high side, only 5 drivers are there in total, it looks like Cody Griffin's got a fair shot to maybe go for the race lead and perhaps try to clear Travis McQuistion off a corner exit. They're 3 wide at the line once again. This will, of course, be the determining factor of who gets the pole at Daytona. So everyone's looking to go for that top spot no matter what. Griffin coming into turn 1 will have the minor advantage, but it's not going to be anything determining a real clear-cut lead, at least yet. The side draft brings them all back to one another every time around, and they're far too close to get a clear lead unless there's some big pushing and shoving, and there it is. Cody Griffin now going to have that lead far and away. He'll be good to perhaps clear both lanes if he wants to. He goes down 1, can't go down to the second, and now Cody Griffin makes it to the middle as he'll be working with Travis McQuistion for the rest of this duel if he chooses to stay right there, locked where he is. 5 laps to go this time by. Coming down to the stripe, right beside Thomas Bressy, it's going to be still Cody Griffin working in that runner-up spot. He'll be taking a middle of 4 wide. Griffin's in trouble here. Can he keep it together? It looks like he does, and they let him back in the middle side to avoid a disaster. That could have been much worse for Griffin. That could have been much worse for the field, but all is well as they come down the stretch once again. And this is truly when that aggression sets in. The final laps of a race at Daytona, no matter the stakes, you're trying to go for that all-out move that you've been waiting to make. And since almost everyone in the field is still with the leading pack, there's a major opportunity to go for that send, take that risk, and have a successful outcome at the end of the night. Coming through with 4 laps to go, this time by McQuistion and Thomas Bressi maintain a first and second lead. The rest of the field stays right there with them, though. Bottom line has been dominant, but has not been overall the quickest without any trouble. Now there's big trouble. Boomer Logan, Justin Morton, all coming together. Yellow flag out once again, and it looks like now we're in jeopardy of going overtime. McFerrin, Logan, Schaub all come together, and your third caution, perhaps your final, will wave here in Daytona. Caution is out once again. Take an instant replay to find out what caused it here. With how close they were racing, it's a miracle it wasn't immediately for the lead, but it looks like it came in the middle of the pack, and it caused some big trouble. Take a look at Boomer Logan. He's right there in the mix. You see Forrest Smith coming close 3 wide with Elliott Drummond. Looks like McFerrin and Boomer Logan started, and if they hook each other, then it's going to be Matthew Thunhorst, Ryan Potter, Justin Morton, Anthony DeBarro, all getting collected in the mayhem. So it's going to be multiple drivers caught up in the fallout of a 2-driver incident. McFerrin and Boomer Logan look to be the ones that kicked it off, and they're going to have some substantial damage as a result. Big troubles with 3 laps to go. Yellow flags out, and now the question is whether or not we get that overtime finish, if we're even eligible for one. We're looking at the iRacing settings right now. It looks like we're still not getting word about a race extension. However, we're going to keep on watching and see whether or not the signal comes in that we will add more laps to the clock here in Daytona. Tentatively speaking, defending Daytona winner Travis McQuistion is set to get the pole if we do not go for an extended overtime finish, and it looks like as he comes across the line we will get official word about whether or not we go any longer or if this race is over. Travis McQuistion is set to come to the line this time through, and we're going to find out if we go for a 2-lap shootout or if we're not done yet. Maybe this is the end of duel number 1. And it's going to be our first green-white checkered of 3. We've got the word that we will go for multiple more laps. If necessary, it's going to be 3 green-white checkered. So before we get into it, let's break down the overall overtime formula here on iRacing. We're going to push past lap 40 and go further. So the official conclusion of this race will be now at lap number 42 as a result of the newfound troubles and the final caution to this point. If we have any caution before the 1 lap to go signal, the white flag, we will restack them, re-rack them, and go for our second attempt, so on and so forth until our 3rd overtime. Our 3rd overtime is the final no matter what, and the race will end under green or under yellow if we get to that point. However, in the case we get to the white flag on this first restart, the race is official, and we will end checkers or wreckers no matter what. It's all about whether or not we get to the white flag. If we don't, we get the race to extend again. If we do, we will move on to Duel 2 within about a minute and a half. Travis McQuistion is in the best position to perhaps go and take that pole, but it's still not a done deal here. He's got Cody Griffin, Thomas Bressi, Forrest Smith, and Elliott Drummond running right behind him here. And the mix of rookies and veterans alike are sure to be a major challenge as we're coming around with 3 laps remaining. Before we get things going here, we've got just a moment's time in between the final laps of this duel and the second, so we'd once again like to thank our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations. Sales are immense on iRacing.com, and if you want to join the world's leading online racing simulator, check out iRacing.com for 40% off new memberships as we speak. A fantastic deal courtesy of the iRacing team. More than 15 years of sim racing on this platform, and every single one of them has been a blast. Here on FTN, we begin broadcasting the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series Thursday night at Daytona once again. It's going to be the highest next level of stock car driving on the virtual realm as drivers are set to qualify for the $500,000 prize pool in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. That's a fantastic series in itself, so if you want to stay tuned, be sure to subscribe to FTN. We've got a lot of action coming all throughout the week. Once again, iRacing Motorsport Simulations, the leading online racing platform since 2008. And tonight, Travis McQuistion has a chance to go to the pole position for the first time in 2024. Won at Daytona last season, show that he's got what it takes to get the checkered flag here in the ever-competitive Ignite Series. These final 2 laps are going to be a different animal, unlike anything that the field has seen so far, and I'm expecting to see some very aggressive driving from front to back here. There are a total of 23 drivers still going, back to Ryan Potter and Timothy Johnston. Overall, 21 drivers are on the lead lap, and some of which have not gone to pit road at all. Some of them just went down a pit road. It's a big mix-up in strategy overall. Now it's time to find out which strategy is the best, who's made the right moves at the right time, and we'll find out who's in that right position to take the checkered flag in duel number 1, the first of 2 duels. So if you're, of course, excited about the racing to come, we've got more than 40 laps to show you. Let's get through this one first, and then we'll move on to duel number 2, where more than 20 drivers will once again take to the circuit. Travis McQuistion will lead the way, this time buying what could be the final restart of the duel. It's going to be the pace car. Down and in. Cody Griffin going to be right there beside him, and they're going to be side by side, bunched up through the Geico restart zone. Welcome to iRacing Overtime. We're green once again. McQuistion has the lead. Travis McQuistion going to lead in the turns 1 and 2 with the advantage so far, just ahead of Thomas Bressi. Bressy's going to remain the pusher as it stands, as he waits for his opportunity to go up top. He's going to move high and take Travis side by side already. Coming down the back straightaway, they're beating and banging, already going down to the dirt. Could this be big trouble? It looks like it won't be. The field gets away. Drummond is going to be trouble. So is Travis McQuistion. No yellow flag will fly. We stay green, and now coming down to the white flag, it's going to be Thomas Bressi and Cody Griffin leading with 1 lap to go. White flag is out here in Daytona. It's going to be McFerrin up high. No longer. That's Brad Patton in the 07, and the Wanted Goons Toyota Supra is now up top. The teammates are first and second on the high side. Trevor Trago pushing Patton while Cody Griffin works with Bressi. Side by side down the back straightaway. Nobody able to take it 3 right now. Will anyone try to take it up to the top side? Is there any room? Looks like right now nobody's found it, but there goes one driver. Chad Mikes is going to bring the 83 of Sebastian Miller up top. Can the rookie make something of it right now? He's getting bobbled back and forth. No luck to this point. Thomas Bressi has 500 yards to go to seal the deal, and as he comes down to the start-finish line in Daytona, he will win duel number 1. Bressi collects the checkered flag, winning the first duel of the season and collects the pole position in Daytona. Bressi gets the checkered flag, and your first duel ends with a photo finish separated by 60 thousandths of a second. Bressi, Patton, Griffin, that's your top 3, and the checkered flag will fall for duel number 1 of the season. Now for Thomas Bressi, that's a big win. Of course, getting that pole position where track position matters so much, he absolutely had to fight for it in this one. And looking at the overall results, Thomas Bressi moved up from 11th on the grid, and he made his way to the top of the board in this one. How about that? A mid-pack start leads to the top dog finish. Bressy's going to come around this time by, get a brief celebration in, and we're going to be talking with your Duel 1 winner momentarily. Thomas Bressi collects the first checkered flag of the day, and already it's a quick change, but we're on to our second duel. So let's get Thomas Bressi in right now. And before everything gets going, of course, it's Thomas Bressi, your race winner here in Duel duel number 1, and he's going to find himself at the top of the board for the starting grid at Daytona. And our winning driver is with us right now, Bressie. It was a quick celebration as we're already on to our second duel, but you got it done, and you take the top spot in qualifying here in Daytona. How do you feel looking at, of course, the front row in the World Center of Racing?
I mean, I would have liked to have done a burnout because I don't know the last time I won anything at Daytona other than the Rolex, but in the oval stuff, it hasn't been too kind to me. So it was a good race there. Cody did me a solid working with me there at the end. So shout out to him being a good teammate there. Kyle Cooper as well from the run before. He was being real awesome there working with me. So yeah, it was interesting. There was some. It was an interesting start being as far back as I was and trying to get forward. There was kind of some bull in the China shop kind of things with a few people going on. So I was trying to get to the front and hopefully stay ahead of it. Fortunately, it worked out and just, yeah, had a couple close calls there at the end with about getting turned around. But, that's Daytona at the end for you. So just happy it worked out. Not the front row, but, next best thing for next week, start the year.
And of course, the next best thing, it's a fantastic way to kick it off here. And when it comes down to the Daytona, 40 laps tonight, maybe not indicative of overall how it's going to go, but you think you learned something that you might have to carry forward with when we come to our main event next week?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, you always, especially with this being the season opener, you always kind of learn, who's good to work with, who's not. And, sometimes people even change year to year. I mean, there was definitely a bit of that I noticed tonight. So, just figuring that stuff out, kind of planning for next week and, making your friends and all that stuff. And, yeah, just figuring out how the lines worked and kind of who dictates what and that kind of thing. And, just seeing what the tempo is going to be. So definitely learned a few things. Our whole team was in that first duel. So we learned some things in the car and then, now we all get to sit out for the next one and watch it from the grandstands.
And we're looking forward to our next duel coming in just a few moments' time. Thomas, if there's anything else you'd like to say, the floor is yours after the first win of the year.
Yeah, just again, as always, shout out to the JT Motorsports guys, Justin and Matt, Cody, Casey, and Tyler weren't able to race with us tonight, but obviously still good to have them on the team and looking forward to having them back in the car. Just shout out to all our series partners, of course, the admin team here at Integrity for selling out the Ignite series. I mean, I think we had like 60 people sign up, so I was really excited to see so many new faces showing up and all of our great partners and everything. So, yeah, looking forward to another good year, though.
As we look forward to duel number 2, thank you for stopping by, Thomas Bressie, your winner of the first duel.
Take care, guys. Enjoy it.
Just like that, Bressie going to get on the way. He'll be starting third, as a matter of fact. When we come back to the track next week, Carter Casey and Chad Mikas locked up your front row, and we're back on the move. Casey not going to be racing with the chips on the line tonight. He will not have to worry. However, it's everyone else fighting to get in that second row as we get the final clarification here. Everyone makes it in. Your front row was locked up by Chad Mikas and Carter Casey, and we're back on the way. We showed you the starting grid, and now it's time to watch them in action. Already, the double play number 46 takes to the top of the board, and we're going to see some rookies try to climb up early as they make those big moves, trying to get up there for what could be a win of duel number 2. At the line this time by, it's going to be the number 46 race leader, Joe Pillion, and it's going to be Cody Smith right up top. The Next Level Racing number 18 returns, of course, continuing a successful partnership we began last year at the Integrity Racing League. Next Level Racing, your one-stop shop for all your sim racing equipment needs. If you want to go to find the best sim racing hardware for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best, visit nextlevelracing.com for more information. They've had you covered since 2009. One more time, Next Level Racing provides high-quality sim racing performance products for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. We just started this run, so we're not going to cut to a commercial here, but keep an eye out for our Next Level Racing promotions all year long. It's a fantastic organization there, Tim Joyce and the entire crew, and we're very, very grateful to have them back for another year here on FTN and on the Integrity Racing League side of things, as it looks like their flagship driver is once again carrying the banner very well. He maintains the second spot overall, as we are already 3 laps in, and it's going to be Joe Pillion at the top of the board. And second place is right now going to be John going right back. You see Cody Smith. He's going to take the lead on the outside line once again. Sun is already setting here in Daytona. The track conditions got somewhat reset, so it's not pitch black just yet. However, we're definitely going to see that change as the night goes on. Expect this race to look much like the next in terms of that night sky when we get down to the final laps here. Because 3 laps in, you're already seeing the conditions change. And so far, I think it's going to be for the better when it comes to these drivers. They're going to have that cooler track temperature, so less to worry about in regards to the overall heat and wear on the tire. You know, Thomas Bressi did not pit all throughout that entire race, so I don't think that's going to be much an issue for a lot of these drivers if you manage your stuff correctly. I think the biggest issue is, of course, going to be that communication factor. Bressi mentioned we've got a lot of new guys at the front of the field right now in this duel and the previous. The number 48 of Tim Rogers, the number 14 of Bobby Terrell. We're also looking at Stephen Wetton in the 11th. You look further back, you see Brad Wren in 15th. Cody Erdman's going to be in 17th. John Borst, Neil Froelich. It's a lot of drivers we are not accustomed to just yet in integrity competition. Not to say they're bad drivers by any means, but when you're unfamiliar with the guys you're around, it becomes much, much trickier. And as it stands, few of them are up front already, and John Pillion has been the leading man to this point, 5 laps into the 40. The early laps are going to be a bit calmer than duel number 1. You don't see anyone going 3 wide right now. These drivers have the opportunity to watch that first duel, so they get to learn while they're in the session, which is an advantage that these guys in the second duel have. Maybe not applied to the first duel guys because they just go in from practice and qualifying. It's a completely different environment they enter from, and it does lead to different outcomes. So expect your first duels to be more risky when it comes to traditionally speaking. I think in iRacing that shows much more so because you get to watch every angle here in the sim. It's not like the real world where you really can't go all over the track and watch. These drivers have access to everything. So they saw what worked, they saw what didn't, and now they've taken the notes and they're learning a lot more about how they're going to work this car as the race progresses. 6 laps in on the 40, it's Cody Smith and John Pillion still leading the way on their respective lines. Bobby Terrell looking good on that top side, and Carter Casey's a rookie. We didn't mention that, but he's already got himself a front row position locked up in the number 2 Budweiser machine. No stranger to us on FTN. Carter Casey, one of the operators of the Saturday Night Thunder series, as of course Vinny Tigner is as well. Both drivers are making their debuts in this series tonight, and just like that, you're seeing Carter is getting some upfront time already, and he has no worries so far as he's going to get that experience, and he has that experience at this track specifically. Just a few weeks ago at Daytona, he was race control for SNT, and he saw how an entire 80-lap race played out there, which came down to the wire with Jordan Kuntz winning. Kuntz was Alec Daffman's former teammate at Shaw Racing. Unfortunately, it does not look like Alec will return to defend his title. However, a few drivers who know our defending champion are in the field tonight. A lot of connections all throughout the pack. Right now, we're looking further back to Rob Ackley. He's in 6th right now, and he's with a very successful bunch of drivers who are all stacked up right around him. Ackley, the first ever winner in the Ignite Series history, won at Daytona just under a year ago, last February, and he had a fantastic performance from start to finish, which got him to the checkered flag over anyone else. He always has the opportunity to say he was the first to get it done in this series. Nobody else can really take that away from him. Same goes to Cody Smith, who won in the Octane Series race just under a year ago as well in a photo finish. So 2 of our pioneers in this new era of integrity racing, they're with us tonight, and they're running on that high side in the front of the field. DJ Stagner, we've mentioned how good he is at Daytona on all the Highline Racing League broadcasts. In the past 4 Highline races at Daytona, no matter what car they use, and they've used 3 different types, he's gotten 3 different wins, one with every one of the packages they've used. The trucks, the Gen 4s, and the Xfinities. In their last 4 races, he's done it all, and DJ Stagner's become one of the more successful drivers at Daytona that we've seen in recent memory, and he won this Thursday with that same paint scheme. He was able to race his teammate till the very end. It was he and Connor Holden going toe-to-toe for the checkered flag, and they gave it a very, very good show until the checkered flag indeed lead. So I think tonight, even though he does not have his teammate Ryan Potter with him, he definitely has the opportunity to take that experience from the Highline Racing League and bring it over here. A lot of these drivers are no stranger to racing at Daytona, and it shows so far. No caution 9 laps in. We have gone longer green, and so far we have had calmer racing. So 10 laps in, we're going to take it away to our first Next Level Racing promotional break of the season. Once again, check out nextlevelracing.com for more information as the year goes on about sim racing's leading hardware provider. Eleven laps in at a 40. So far, it's still going to be largely side by side, but we're starting to see that third lane develop as we come into the double digits. Looking up top, we've got one rookie making it work up top with Shane Ewing. That's going to be the number 14 machine, Bobby Terrell. And right now, Bobby, he's going to look high, and he's looking to make things happen. A dozen laps in, 12 out of 40. We're seeing that more aggressive style of driving come out. Still, most drivers are sticking to their guns in the middle groove or the bottom side. However, start to see this aggressive driving become more the norm as we close in on the second half of this race. 12 laps in at a 40. It's going to be Cody Smith maintaining the middle. Bobby Terrell is going to be left hung out to dry, and it looks like Shane Ewing gets it back on the middle side as opposed to keeping it on the top. Big difference there as opposed to what we saw just a lap ago. Back to the status quo for most drivers, and I think right now that's really going to be the biggest difference between the top side and the middle. As it stands, it's been all about whether or not you can get something done throughout the pack on those first two grooves, but that's so much trickier when you have no help. It's not always about what you know. In a lot of instances, it's about who you know. And right now, the communication factor is a big deal for drivers like Smith, who are up in front and having full control of the field. You need to make sure you know when the drivers behind you are going to make their moves, why they're going to make their moves, and sometimes it's not always that strategy that's important when it comes down to pit road. The drafting, it's much easier said than done. Working with the drivers at speeds of over 180 miles an hour, that does not come for granted here, and especially when it comes down to how aggressive these drivers will become later in the going. You don't want to get caught up in someone else's mistake, or you don't want to be caught out without any knowledge of what will be done next. So far, the leaders have done a great job of really sticking with each other and not making many major moves. A lot of returning drivers who are with new looks tonight. You'll see that Tony Stewart throwback for Adam Wood in the number 45. Blake Gordon returns, but this time with the number 19. He's got the Tide Ride tonight, and the 00 of Brad Wren. New look in red, white, and blue, and also the 00, Don Runkle, red, white, and blue as well. Cody Erdman, brand new. Gael Brooks is coming back with a much different color palette. The days of the DeWalt number 71 are over, and now you'll see it's a bright red, yellow, and green color palette that's going to be very striking all season long. We mentioned Cal Filarski's got a new look as well. The Microsoft Copilot number 91. Copilot just releasing as the big AI wave at Microsoft is still taking over their Bing software for image generation has become a fantastic success, and they're integrating it more and more into Microsoft Windows, among other products. So keep an eye out for that. If you're an iRacing user, you probably use Windows, and you're probably going to see Copilot down the line. Brandon Bernhardt tonight is in the number 81 Hooters machine, and John Borst is going to be in the number 86 right beside him. Neil Froelich is going to be racing both series this season. He's got the Hulu number 17 tonight. He'll have the number 17 tomorrow as well. Alan Rowell, not the 43 anymore, he's the number 69. And finally, Alan Dobbs, no longer the 05, he's racing for Elite Performance Industries in the number 77. That's a quick tour throughout your field, some new, some returning, but a lot of different looks in 2024 as drivers get to grips with the new season, the new identity, and of course, new drivers around him. It's a different environment, a lot of the same, but much has changed. 16 laps in out of 40, and if you're enjoying tonight's action, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is immensely appreciated here on FTN. We're hoping to have at least 15-20 likes by the end of this broadcast, and clicking that button is a big deal in regards to getting our broadcasts out, especially as we return to full-time action all throughout 2024. We got a lot of broadcasts planned for the coming month and a half. Gonna be almost non-stop action here. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, twice over. Thursday is going to become a doubleheader too. Keep that in mind. We've got many broadcasts, many more coming at you. So I think you're going to be very, very pleased with the content we have. Just leave that like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. It's a huge deal because it also helps this league. And a lot of great drivers here who deserve that attention. And so far, this second duel has been the cleaner of which. 17 laps in, no signs of a caution, no signs of overtly risky driving, and so far they've kept it clean all throughout. John Pinley is still going to have that overall top spot. It's going to be Cody Smith right beside him. Carter Casey dropped back to third in the very first lap. He stayed there ever since. No major shifts in the power dynamic up at the front of the field. Everyone more or less staying the same. Working down the backstretch right now, you're going to see a bit of a bobble, but nobody really too worried about dropping out of this main pack so far. A few drivers in the previous run, they were definitely worried a little more about how drivers are racing each other, particularly in the early stages of that first duel. You saw guys like Elliott Drummond and Braxton Weiss, they dropped out and decided instead to maybe lie back for the remainder of the race. So far, nobody's giving in, and the entirety of the field that took the green flag are separate by 1.7 seconds, going back to Alan Rowell. So everyone is very close right now. In terms of distance, there's not a lot between 24 drivers. Nicholas Cohan registered but did not take to the track, unfortunately, so everyone else has been just about wrapped up in a blanket. You see there, Cody Smith is going to get a bit of an advantage. Look off the back bumper now for the number 18. He's going to be shoved out by Rob Ackley, and Ackley's got the speed to shove the number 18 machine to a minor lead as they come through turns 3 and 4 this time by. Still not enough to get away there from John, as it looks like they're neck and neck yet again. It's that big difference between having one dominant line and two just about dead even lines. Both lines are well formed, have not shown any signs of going back and forth and losing control. It's been a very, very well-rounded matchup on both lanes in both duels so far. Nobody really gets away from one another to this point. However, I think if there's any dominant line so far, has to be that bottom side. Thomas Bresci won largely using that bottom line as a defensive tool. He would go up and down just a bit to try to keep those other lanes in check, but really the bottom has been his preferred tool all throughout this event to this point. And I think right now for John Pillion, that's been a tool that he's tried to replicate the effect of, and as a rookie learning from some of the best in the business in this series, it's a great opportunity to take those same practices and re-implement them. As at the line, he's been able to do so with much success so far. 20 laps to go this time by, and at this point, the drivers are getting set for the second half of this race. Right now, we're going to crank it up with 20 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at Track Cams for Gourmets. Check out trackcams22.com for more information about iRacing's leading camera software with over 100 car and track combinations to make your iRacing broadcasting experience the best it possibly can be. Trackcams22.com is a proud sponsor of FTN Content, and we are set to crank it up with 20 laps to go. Yellow flag will fly with 18 laps to go. Carter Casey destroyed, among others. We've got trouble, and the caution is out. Yellow flag now with a total of 18 laps to go. Take a look at it here, and you will see Casey, among many others, caught up in it. Bring us back to the full coverage of the incident and find out what caused it here. Coming out of turn 2, the first caution of the night in duel number 2. One's going to be a huge incident to keep an eye out for because many good drivers got caught up in it. So let's take it back one full minute and find out everything that led to it here. It started at the front of the field and went all the way on back. 17 laps to go now. When we get back to the green, it'll be only about 15 laps remaining. So it's going to be a very tight squeeze for the rest of this race. You'll see there Cody Smith. He's going to be working up top. He's got Shane Ewing right there with them. And as they hook each other more and more, Cody Smith is hooked down to the Carter Casey, then gets Sean Pillion, then Adam Wood, and the rest of the field comes apart as a result. Look at how slow drivers in the back of the field have to go. Gael Brooks goes spinning. DJ Stagner barely gets around it. Cody Erdman drops to the bottom. And from the front of the field on back, it's a huge one, a track blocker, and it's going to bring out the yellow flag now with 17 laps to go. Yellow flag will fly, and for the first time in the second duel, we are under pacing yet again. Shane Ewing has the race lead after that incident. He did look to be right up there on Cody Smith by the time he turned. However, I expect him to go down a pit road regardless now. After 24 laps, maybe some drivers feeling their tires are worn out. It was 50-50 split the first caution in the first duel, but over time, very few drivers left themselves on the track. At the stripe, it looks like the call will be more so to go down a pit road once again. Front runners, not so much. Anyone on back, they're going to decide to make it in. And with 17 laps to go, we've got a race on to pit road, and the majority of the field opts to come through. After further calculations, it looks like only 9 drivers remain on the track without a pit stop now, so it's going to be a very big majority of the field that comes in. Only 13 drivers were left last time through. It's now only 9 in this second duel. So more drivers choose to make it down a pit road, and it looks like the race off pit road will have, with a minor advantage, it's going to go to, looks like, Stephen Wetton over Alan Dobbs. It was a side-by-side battle, close, but Wetton will in off of pit road there over Doms. Now you'll see that's going to be Brandon Bernhardt on the way, and just like that, it's a huge shuffle in the overall order, as now it's going to be Shane Ewing leading over Rob Ackley, John Pillion, and Chris Goubeau. You're going to see DJ Stagner round out the top 5, and Don Runkle is going to be in 6th, and gets set to go once again. 16 laps remaining. Before we get back at it here on FTN, we once again like to thank Next Level Racing for all high-quality sim racing performance products featured on this broadcast. The official primary partner of the Integrity Racing League, Next Level Racing provides high-quality sim racing products since 2009. All your hardware needs can be covered by Next Level Racing. Check out nextlevelracing.com for more information about hardware made for dedicated sim racers who deserve nothing but the best. We'll be right back after this brief promotional break with less than 15 laps to go. When we go green, you're watching the Integrity Racing League, and this is the 2024 Daytona Duels. We'll only have 14 green flag laps from this point onward. The 2024 Daytona Duels have kicked off with great racing. Thomas Bressi won our first, but the second duel is still all up in the air. And right now, we really don't know who's going to get it done. This is only our first caution of the duel. We went more than halfway with that one, and now we're coming down to already the final laps of this event. It's going to be more of a sprint, if anything, now, and I think it's going to come down to most likely one or two more cautions. Our first went to an overtime finish. This one, perhaps not. It's still all up in the air. Thomas Bressi confirming Next Level Racing stuff is 10 out of 10, and I'll tell you this much, our Next Level Racing champion last season knows a thing or two about the fantastic performance of a Next Level Racing piece of hardware. New sim rig for him, as he was the overall most consistent driver of 2023, and the championship prize for the overall year champion was a Next Level Racing sim rig worth $2,000 in value. Definitely worth your while. Check out nextlevelracing.com once again as we get set to go. The pace car down and in. It's going to be trucking on through as Shane Ewing is set to take the green flag. Rob Ackley in second. Chris Goubeau in third. Green flags out with 14 laps remaining. Back on the move in the world center of racing. Neck and neck between Rob Ackley and Shane Ewing as they come through the first two turns. We got a few new drivers up in the front of the field. Chris Goubeau, you see now DJ Stagner. He's side by side with Alan Rowell. And looking further back, Cody Erdman's going to be there with Alan Dobbs. They are 8th and 9th. 14 laps to go here, so we're really in the final stretch already. And a race this short, the action comes at you quick, and it comes at you more and more each passing lap. The Rayovac number 32 works down to the bottom side yet again. It looks like still it's going to be Ewing with that slight advantage, and as we mentioned, the low line really comes in clutch if you're a race leader, and it looks to be doing so once again, using it as the biggest technique to defend so far tonight. If you're able to make that low line work well, you have a very strong chance of getting the win as it's all said and done, we are far from done. Still, 13 laps to go on the way. Coming through this time by, you're going to see Shane Ewing is going to be there in up the second position. Rob Ackley now has the lead, and he's going to be able to clear. As you see there, he's got clean air in front of him, and he's got a load of drivers right behind him. Riding on board here with Rob Ackley, it's going to be the number 22 to the point. Take a ride on board. Ackley right now still far from clear. He's got a lot of pressure and a lot of drivers right around him. Shane Ewing is going to be right there in the back bumper, and you're also going to see Chris Gabeau up on top. Gabeau this season comes back with a number 52, a new number for him, as he's going to be sporting the Dizzy Wrench number 52 paint scheme, and he's not now going to be pushed by a rookie, or rather a newcomer. There's big trouble. Everyone's up and over. One driver flips in Rob Ackley. Yellow flags out with 12 laps to go. Still one driver sliding on his roof, and it's going to be calamity here in Daytona. Don Runkle up and over. The motor is killed, and the caution flies with a dozen laps remaining. We are under yellow once again. Caution is out. 11 laps remaining. Let's take a look right back and find out what just happened here. It starts up at the front of the field yet again, and further and further, it's going to be a chain reaction from then on back. It starts with a 0-0 there, and you can see Shane Ewing gets away from it, but it becomes calamity. As you see, Don Runkle, he kicks it off, and he ends up and over. You'll also see Chris Gabeau, not to mention Gael Brooks. In addition, you're going to see Blake Gordon. And furthermore, it's just about the second half of the field all coming apart. Tim Rogers sends himself down to pit road. Alan Rawell is going to be stalled. Don Runkle's down to pit road already. Rob Ackley there too. Cody Smith was far away to begin with, so he will get lucky there. But that's going to take out 7 good drivers, and this time I think a lot of them are going to be taken out for good here tonight with 11 laps remaining. That is absolutely not what you want to see. From the front of the field on back, all of a sudden we're getting some more chaotic racing here in this second duel. First 20-odd laps, we have no cautions. Now the final 10 that we've seen to this point, we've had 2. So we're getting a little dicier as we're coming down to the end. Only 9 laps remaining now if you come across the stripe. So there's really a minimal amount of time to get this one done. Minuscule, shall we say. It's going to be about 8 to go, I think, when we go back green. So there's only one major opportunity for a caution before we head to overtime. And it becomes much trickier to get a long run in this stage of the race. So hopefully cautions do not breed cautions any further. But right now, if you're someone outside of the top 5, it's going to be much harder for you to get back up there and perhaps take the lead. As it stands, your top 5, it goes as follows. Shane Ewing, it's going to be then John Pillion, Blake Gordon, John Borst, and Neil Frolick, and then DJ Stagner. They're in 6th. Stagner gets on the way after going to pit road, and right now another batch of drivers come in. It looks like a total of only 2 drivers have not gone to pit road tonight. Shane and John, both of which have decided to stay out on the track so far, so they're going to be doing something much different from the rest of the entire field. Everyone else has gone in at least once, so far removed from the strategy of Shane Ewing and John Pillion. It's definitely different look for the field. This time by Chris Gabeau and Stephen Wetton, who both did not have pit stops before. They made their way in. Same goes for Don Runkle and Alan Rawell, who have substantial damage, and the question is whether or not they'll even be able to get back on the track. But for Shane, the question is whether or not he can win now with 10 laps remaining. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is going to be the final caution of the night, but so we can get it out of the way, we'll have our final Next Level Racing promotional break now, with 9 laps to go, high-quality sim racing performance products are best found on nextlevelracing.com, dedicating their services to sim racers who deserve nothing but the best since 2009. Check out nextlevelracing.com after tonight's broadcast, and we'll be right back after our final Next Level Racing promotion of the night. We'll return this time by with 8 green flag laps to go. It's going to be the Daytona Duels coming down to 8 complete laps, and that's if we stay under green. This second duel has been largely cleaner to this point. Second lap has been, of course, second lap of caution. In this stint, we've seen 2 cautions, and now we're on to our 4th overall caution lap. So overall, it's been largely green flag laced racing, shall we say, but it looks like it's sort of turning now into what could be a more chaotic finish. We went to overtime in that first duel, and as it stands, we're moving on to what could be a second consecutive overtime finish. Some consistencies up in front. We've seen Shane Ewing, we've seen John Pillion, we've seen Blake Gordon, John Borst, Near Frolic, and DJ Stagner up front many a time at Daytona. But the question is, which of these drivers has a chance to lock themselves in and get that checkered flag for themselves? The iRacing official pace car will drop in this time by and let the drivers get back to work here in lap number 33. John Pillion's going to be in full control in the number 46 as the green flag is set to fly with only 8 laps remaining. Through the Geico restart zone, drivers grab a gear once again. Green flag's out, and it looks like Shane Ewing gets a much better restart. Coming out of the back straightaway, we'll see who has the lead, but coming in, Shane Ewing's blocking both lanes and trying to make it work. He's going to stay on the bottom side now as DJ Stagner comes in hot, and all of a sudden, the Raging Cajun number 64 is up to the top side and perhaps up to the race lead coming out of turn 4. Brandon Bernhardt sticks right there with them as they come off the final turn. It's got a fair shot of going, and DJ Stagner up to the race lead puts himself on top now with only 7 laps remaining. How about that? It's going to be Stagner up top. After all the laps he spent lying in the shadows, waiting in the wings, he's come back alive here, and while he doesn't have his teammates with him, he's got a fair shot to go forward here with that track position. Look at the separation between the main pack and the second. 11 drivers are with your leaders. Then you go back to Sean Carmody, who looks to be with the second group right now, and that separation is a big deal, and it might impact the rest of the race. Coming through this time by, it's going to be about a 7-driver group that's bundled up 2x2x2. Then you see Neil Frolic and Jay Aishman working with each other, and you look further back and the rest of the field keeps on going. Right on board right now with the number 81 of Brandon Bernhardt in the thick of the pack. Bernhardt's going to be pushing hard right now with DJ Stagner. He's second in line currently, and being a driver has to push that leader out is a very risky operation. You do not want that driver to leave you if you push them too far out in front, but you also don't want to get further and further behind. It's about balancing the expectation of being that pushing driver and understanding what you have to do to make it all work when the time is right. 6 laps to go this time by, and it's going to be the Daytona Duels coming down 2. Only a total of 10 drivers up in front. And look further back, a few more are dropping. Looks like Brad Wren is losing his touch with the draft, and we'll see whether or not he can stay with them here. With only 5 laps to go, time is running out to pull back up in front, and these leaders are soaring, putting up 47-second laps. That time by was a 47.993 for John Pillion, who is still up there as your race leader. DJ Stagner keeps him honest in second. Top 2 still going to be side by side. Stagner actually gets the lead down the back straightaway, and as they come through once again, 3 wide no longer. It's going to be single file in front. Stagner's got the lead and is set to hold them down with only 4 laps to go. Bernhardt wiggles just a bit. No major signs of backing off though, and Cody Erdman's going to be coming to the stripe, now third on the high side. 4 laps remaining. It's still going to be all about who's got it in store in this final run. And I think right now, if you look further back, how about someone like John Borst, Carter Casey, the drivers we have not mentioned so far in this final stint, they're still in the mix right now and have a great opportunity to become the underdogs who go for the race win. They're hanging back right now, waiting in the wings for potential action, which of course hasn't come just yet. Staying back here, perhaps waiting for a wreck, might be the safest thing to do right now. And since you're so close to leaders, you're going to get a good finish regardless. For Carter Casey, he's locked to second on the grid already and is a very firm contender for the race win next week as it stands. Coming around though, 3 laps to go. It's a push and shove battle. Stagner's going to be up top, John Pillion right down low, and now we're coming up with just under 7 miles to go here in Daytona. Bernhardt almost looked down low, realized he wasn't clear, and stayed on that second groove. That was a very dicey moment, and it looks like luckily he'll stay exactly where he is. No trouble comes out of that minor bobble. Going to be just a little misstep here, and it's going to be all about waiting for that white flag lap. If we stay green, the race will be official, and we will end this 2 laps from now. However, if we have a caution within the period before the white flag, we will go to overtime, and that is still possible. Look out for the second pack here. They're running single file. Looks like they have no intentions of making any ruckus here for a caution or a second opportunity. They'll stay in line and stay alone as the field comes around with 2 laps to go. Stagner's got the lead. John Pillion right behind, and it's still a fight as they come down the backstretch. Neck and neck now with Shane Ewing pushing very strong on the bottom side. Brandon Bernhardt's going to try to make a move and maybe help DJ get that advantage, but DJ Stagner has not left the high groove just yet, has a lot of faith in Bernhardt, at least so far, and it looks like that unwavering faith is really going to help him out here in the final moments of this event. 2 laps to go, this time by coming down to only 1 lap remaining. A white flag is out, and it's going to be DJ Stagner leading us to the white. Can he complete this race as a dual winner? He's got the top side still to himself. Brandon Bernhardt is pushing, but John Pillion, the rookie, is trying to take it away from him. DJ Stagner, the first ever Ignite Series champion, returns to form, but the race ain't over yet. Cody Smith, lap machine down low. Does he interfere? It looks like he'll stay on the bottom, and he will keep himself out of the business. John Pillion looking for a push from Shane Ewing, one he hasn't gotten just yet, but through turn 3 and 4, now he's got to run. John's going to have much more speed as he comes through the final 2 corners, but DJ's got the side draft. It'll be a neck and neck race as they come to the line this time through. Stagner up top, John Pillion right down low. At the line, the rookie gets it done. John Pillion wins the second duel and will start 4th in Daytona next week. 9 thousandths of a second, the rookie gets it done and will have himself a top 5 start in the biggest race of the season. How about that? A great way to start a season, a great way to start a campaign. John Pillion will pull it together and win the first race of his integrity career. Now, the duels have concluded, and it looks like drivers are getting on the track for what would be a for-fun event here. So as these drivers get on the grid, we do have a few that we want to talk to before we conclude this broadcast. Cody Erdman's going to be on the board, but it's our race winner, John Pillion, we'd like to speak to, that number 46, who just got it done. He will be starting second in this mock race. However, overall, he will be starting fourth in the main event. So let's get a word from your duel number 2 winner. Then we'll speak to your front row. They're still available for comment. It's John Pillion who gets it done and wins duel number 2 by 9 thousandths of a second over DJ Stagner. Right now, it looks like John is not available for comment. Oh, there he is. Now we got a word from our Duel 2 winner. Great to hear that we can have our driver in, the number 46, having to go right against one of the veterans of this series, going against the first ever champion and coming out on top. Tonight in Daytona, you get it done in your first ever Integrity Ignite Series race, winning duel number 2. John, how you feeling with a checkered flag in hand?
I feel lucky. Definitely lucky to have a good pusher behind me and get through those 2 wrecks.
You got through all the chaos, had a lot of support at the very end, and just barely come home with a very close win. So what was it like getting to grips with this field, knowing it's your first race in this series, and sort of learning about how the field runs?
I got to watch that first race, and I was watching how the bottom line seemed to be the safer place to be. It's not... It's by far no guarantee, but on those 2 accidents, the only way I got through there was on the bottom, being able to sneak down the apron and just hold tight. Coming out of both those with a clean car for that final 10-lap shootout, it just seems like the high line didn't quite have enough steam to get to the finish line.
The bottom line really coming in clutch there. We saw you avoid those major incidents, and when it came down to the end of this race, it was that final sprint with so few drivers around you, you just need to have the right pusher. How did you come to the conclusion of who to work with here? Because that's such a crucial piece of this plate racing. You got to know who you want to race with, and that ended up helping you out big time to get to the win.
Yeah, I don't know. Who was the driver behind me? I don't know. You're just out there so dialed in and focused. You really don't have time to even try to put all that together. I'm not racing out here with a teammate. It's just really luck and circumstances. It's Daytona.
And it looks like the luck of the draw really helped you out here, making your first start and the big race coming up next here in Daytona. John, well, we've got a lot to look forward to with a big one coming up. You think there's a chance to maybe go for another win?
Sure. I hope I'm talking to you guys next week.
Well, we hope to be talking to you as well. Once more, John Pillion taking home the second duel win of the night. If there's anything more you'd like to say after your victory, the floor is yours.
It feels great. I'm looking forward to the season. Thanks, guys.
And there we have it. Duel 2 winner, John Pillion. Thank you for your time. And we're going to move John on his way. Right now, a few drivers are on the track. He's going to get back on the move, 13th and last of which. So as we watch this race, because one is still going, we'll get a word from your overall top 2 drivers for tonight's conclusion. Qualifying set only 2 spots, first and second. And right now, while your top 2 in the qualifying order are not on track, we'll get a word with both of which, if we're able. It was Chad Mikas who got the pole position, and it was then Carter Casey who came through in second. Right now, Mikas does not look to be available for comment. Looks like he left, and the same unfortunately goes for Carter Casey, which means that we've got ourselves 20 laps of racing, which look to be coming at us right now. Nonetheless, our duels have concluded, so since we have a little bit of time, and you're still with us right now, let's break down what's next for the year. We've got a lot to look forward here on the Integrity schedule. Not only, of course, the Ignite Series, which you're watching right now, but the Octane Series. So here's a rundown of what we're going to expect to see for the remainder of the week. Tomorrow, we're going to have ourselves the duels for the Octane Series as they go on to the Gen 4 platform. Last season, it was the Next Gens. Now, it's going to be the Gen 4s, and it's going to be the high horsepower legacy racing. A lot of fans and drivers alike have loved for several years. They've been waiting for it to come around, and now it's here. Get ready. The Gen 4s are set to kick off tomorrow night, and then next Monday, we'll have ourselves the big race. As it stands, it's going to be the driver of the number 25, Chad Michaels. He's the man to have the pole position coming up next week at Daytona. 100 laps. Stage lap is lap 50, so there's bonus points on the table. Daytona, it's up next. Then you'll have California, Coda, Nashville, Kentucky, and Twin Ring Motegi for our first break Easter Sunday, and then we move on to Monday. No race that week. On the Octane Series side, we're going to have ourselves a few races, different schedule. Daytona next Tuesday, then Atlanta, then Las Vegas, Rockingham, Bristol, and Chicagoland. That's the first batch of races we have up next here, so stay tuned because we're going to have a lot of great races coming in the next few weeks. And if you want to join us here in the Integrity Racing League, be sure to check out the official FTN Discord servers, all of which are in the description below, or you can scam the QR code to stay informed, as we've got a lot of great races coming throughout the remainder of 2024. eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. That's a mouthful, but it's one of the biggest series in all of virtual stock car racing. They're coming back to action Thursday, this coming Thursday at Daytona. We want to have everyone watching that one. Mark your calendars. It's Road to Pro back on FTN, and they'll be accompanying, of course, the Highline Racing League on Thursday nights in the forthcoming weeks, and the Iorta Cup Series is set to return as well. Right now, this race really is just a funsies one, so these guys are really not going out there looking to go out and, score points, get that dual victory, but it's another chance to see how these drivers put it all together. So, tell you this much, how about we crank it up right now? We got time to kill, so let's have some fun here, cranking it up with the sights and sounds of the virtual Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the post-duels event here in the Integrity Ignite Series. And tell you this much, yellow flag's out. We have a few drivers who'd like to talk to us here, as we got a little bit of time. So how's about we get a word from Michael Stroll, who looks to be available, and we'll get him in right now. Michael Stroll, you're with us here after the first two duels of the night. We got a few more laps we're looking at here, so how you feeling after watching the first two? And, of course, now we're all looking forward to the big race next week.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. For it being Daytona, I thought those duels were pretty entertaining and pretty clean. A lot of the newer fellows in Integrity Racing did really well. But it is Daytona, and we'll have some Daytona things. And I hope a lot of the guys learned some stuff from tonight. Because next week, I think we're going to have almost a full 60-car field or pretty close to it, which should be very, very entertaining to see how everybody handles that. But pretty proud of the guys, and I wish I was out there, but I wish I could have commented with you as well, but feeling pretty good about where we are right now.
We got quite a lot of drivers here tonight. You say that, I mean, nearly 60 who are going to be coming in for Daytona next week. 52 race tonight, which is a huge tally. Really one of the biggest I've seen, personally speaking. So I think it's going to play out with such a great driver core for the whole year now, establishing a very big following.
Yeah, I think I heard you say when I was watching the broadcast that this is your biggest field that you guys have covered on FTN, which I'm glad we can be the first ones to deliver that to you. I think the strategy next week is obviously to stay out of trouble as much as you can. But those guys that are going to be pushing up front will be normal Daytona, and then everyone else is going to have to kind of feed in and make their pit stops. If we get green flag pit stops, make them as clean as possible, and just try to stay out of trouble. I personally have never raced in a field that large anywhere, but I'm confident in the roster that we have that they can not make it a long night for you or the rest of the league and put on an entertaining show.
And we're certainly looking forward to Daytona. I mean, with the duels having so many drivers and so much action already, I can't wait for what's. Tell you this much, we got a whole season of fun looking forward. Saw how great last season went with a lot of excitement all around. Great racing for the good majority of it from start to finish. I think that's going to be hopefully more of the same as we progress this year. You think there's anything big that's the difference from last year to this as we look forward to it?
I think at least for the Ignite series, instead of having an A season and a B season and going to a full length season like the Octane series is going to be a big change. I put my admin hat on here. I think the biggest goal we want to see is if we can average 30 to 35 for the entire season. That would be a big win for us. Anybody that's watching right now, the Ignite series from Mondays is full and closed, but there is still some room for Tuesdays for the Octane series, which runs the same rules. Everything is the same except the car. We run the Gen 4 car. So if you like what you see here, we put on the same product on Tuesdays, and you can sign up for that. I think combined between both series, we have close to 110 entries. So real big shout out to the admin team, the rest of the admin team for getting this many people and this much attention. Shout out to you, David, for exposing our product and what we do here, and getting this kind of attention in this kind of field. Again, obviously, I wish I was out there. It's going to be a while before I come back. But I'm really looking forward to watching next week. And hopefully one of these weeks I can get in the booth with you and help you out.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If you're able, I would love to see how tomorrow goes. I mean, tonight it was an unbelievable field, putting out, of course, all the stops, testing out our systems here. Everything looks to be good to go on my side. And I'll tell you this much, with tomorrow being more of the same, I think it's going to be an exciting one. Got any thoughts about what we're looking up next for the Octane series as they go for their first Gen 4 race?
Well, definitely I'll be around tomorrow. If you wanna try out and I can sit next to you, that'd be great. I can't do much right now as it is, so any form of entertainment I can do for myself will be a big help for my mental health. But as far as tomorrow night, very different product with a different car with these bumpers that do not line up. The field will mostly be different. I would guess maybe 20% of the field that you saw here tonight will run tomorrow. So you'll have almost half the field be a different cast of characters, which brings a whole other dynamic with, different driving styles and attitudes and stuff. But as I said in our Discord to everyone this morning, the number one key here is just to have fun. We built this up for everyone to come race, and now it's up to the drivers to put on a good product on the track to make this a really good, entertaining league. And the more that we do that, the more people would want to sign up. So I'm just looking forward to a great 2024.
We're all certainly excited for this 2024 here in the Integrity Racing League. Tell you what, Michael Stroll, great to have you here in the booth, and we're looking forward to hopefully bringing you on tomorrow. Is there anything else you'd like to say after tonight's racing?
No, just you keep doing your thing, David. You make our league look great, and you make all the other leagues that you cover look great. And we hope that we give it right back to you, building each other up with our products and stuff. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Great to have you here, Michael Stroll, returning to the broadcast booth. We'll hope to have you back for the duels tomorrow. Great to have you here tonight. Thank you.
Later.
Michael Stroll on the way. Right now, we still got about 10 laps to go in this feature, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like anyone else really available for a comment here. So with that being said, we've seen our duels, and we've had a little bit of fun talking to the members of the Integrity Racing League. I can't wait for 2024, and we're only just getting started. So we thank you all for a fantastic broadcast tonight. As always, I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and this has been a presentation of the Integrity Ignite Series 2024 Duels. Hope to have you back tomorrow night for the Octane Series Duels. It's going to be the same league, some similar drivers, but as we mentioned, going to be a lot of differences in the overall package. It's going to be a lot of exciting racing once again. It's a lot of Daytona. I've said a lot so far, but Daytona, 3 streams in a row, ending with the Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series on Thursday night. Great to have you all watching again on FTN. I've been David Kreutz, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Integrity Racing League. Thank you all for stopping by, and we hope to see you when we're live again on FTN.